Greetings to everyone. Good morning and warm welcome, particularly to all the outstation participants to the city of Hyderabad. I recognize the presence of all the dignitaries who are here. Shri Rajiv Kumarji, Mr. Matthew Cherian, Professor Amirullah Khan, Mr. Osama Manzar, Sonia, Mr. Deepak Maheshwari, and so many others who have come. It's a matter of great happiness that jointly with the Digital Empowerment Foundation, Telangana government is organizing the 7th edition of the Digital Citizen Summit. And I'm also happy that some of the subcomponents which we had began in the past, they are all continuing, they're all thriving, and we'll be seeing this year's edition as a part of this summit. I'm particularly very happy that we are able to continue with more participation, with better quality of submissions, the Just AI Awards, and also the Digital Artisans of India Awards. The theme for this year's Digital Citizen Summit is on data and accountability, and how do you, as a citizen, be aware about in what ways is your data getting used. And also we have had some very startling cases of misuses in the past. So what is it that we need to be careful about, and how do we as a collective protect the integrity of all these data sharing requirements that frequently confront us? Many of it happens without our knowledge. As Osama pointed out, lots of times we are under surveillance without even knowing that we are being surveilled. But what exactly happens with all of these? So it's not a popular narrative to hold governments accountable for data management, for ensuring privacy, confidentiality, and fair and reasonable use of data. But in Telangana, I feel very proud to share this with all of you that we have tried certain things which today are spoken about. I won't say that whatever we have tried are considered to be the kind of a final golden standards in these matters, but whatever we have tried in Telangana in the last, I would say 10 years or so, in some ways give a very good understanding on how governments can play its own role with much more responsibility and sincerity. So I will speak about three specific initiatives taken by us in the past 10-12 years. We became possibly the first state, at least the first large state or the first mainstream state, which started a open data policy. Before us, there was only one policy available, which was of Sikkim. And I mean, I'm sure they did it with good intent, but Sikkim obviously is not that digitally empowered as I would imagine Telangana is or Hyderabad is. So in that sense, way back in 2015, almost 10 years earlier, we became the first state to bring out an open data policy and create a portal which is still very active. It is called the Open Data Portal, opendata.telangana.gov.in. And instead of managing this as a government kind of an activity, typically many of you would be familiar that government has departments and agencies to look after all kinds of programs and activities in-house. We decided to completely hand over the responsibility of this open data portal management to an agency which has a very strong reputation about data management, about facts checking, about facts verification. This is an organization, it's a Hyderabad-based organization called Factly. And they were given complete autonomy and responsibility to curate this open data portal, prepare norms for usage, and also how do you use all that data. Eventually, people who speak in favor of so much of humongous amount of data being collected and being kind of stored, etc., the argument, the single most important argument they put forward is that we require all this data to prepare solutions. Eventually, there are thousands and thousands of pressing problems that people face. And in order to create targeted and precise solutions, you require actual data to test whether these solutions will work or not, and therefore the requirement to collect so much of data, which is fine. I mean, no one can challenge this argument. But then issues come, or red flags are raised when questions of improper commercial use of data. For instance, many of us would be familiar. Coincidentally, today is also an important day from an elections point of view. By-elections have happened here in Hyderabad. State elections have happened elsewhere. Counting is going on. Many of us would remember that celebrated case when on Facebook, millions of user data was passed on to an analytics firm, which then tried to influence voter behavior by pushing certain kind of content into your feed. And we know that in the last US elections also, and even in the ones which happened before that, these kind of allegations were made. In fact, there was a very strong allegation that people from a different country altogether were trying to influence American voters by misusing data which was given in good faith just to subscribe to a particular platform, and so on and so forth. So the open data platform which we have created way back in 2015, and whose responsibility to manage and curate was given to a third party completely outside the government, in some ways indicated that it is important to have data at one place, but it is also possible to have proper guardrails to ensure that these kind of misuses do not happen. And while so much of data has been put in the open data portal, many of some very good use cases have emerged because of that portal. And I can give you a couple of examples. We were able to put lots of mobility related data, transport data on that open data portal. And we were also able to motivate, as you would know, ride sharing apps have become very popular. Many of you would have actually taken some ride sharing app and you would have reached this venue. All that data also goes to them, remains with them. So we were able to convince two of the large ride sharing players to also put their data on this open data platform. And we were able to run a open challenge and a hackathon, inviting people to access all this data which is there on the platform and see whether traffic solutions can they give some recommendations to manage some of these traffic problems which we see very commonly in a large city, including in Hyderabad. And some very useful solutions came. So for example, when you analyze ride sharing data, it's very intuitive now, but in those days when analysis was done, it was found that at certain points of the day, more ride sharing users are there in a particular locality, and that profile changes over a period of time. So that analysis gave rise to some very interesting inferences. So if large number of people are using ride sharing apps in a particular geography or in a particular neighborhood, it also implies that public transportation coverage in that area is low. So that was a very important input used by the public transport agencies to redraw their route planning. One more information which came was that in certain areas when traffic intensity was high, it also gave a very obvious recommendation to the traffic police that you need to deploy more people in order to streamline the traffic flow during those hours. So very intuitive, very commonsensical kind of inferences. But if it is evidence based, if it is data based, and that too large quantities of data, you see these patterns so commonly, so obviously, and instant decisions are prompted. And then there are so many other solutions also. I remember the police department here, the women's safety wing, using all that data to again design some internal programs, and agriculture lots of startups using that data to provide solutions related to agriculture and so on and so forth. So this was one initiative which has worked well. A second initiative of the state government, which has also, in a way, the foundation lies at this open data portal and the open data policy, which, as I said, goes back to 2015, is this concept of data exchange. So in 2015, when we began this concept of open data, AI was not that prominent. I mean, of course, not to say that AI did not exist at all. but the use of AI, the applications of AI in designing solutions, etc., was just kind of emerging. But today we see that literally every solution that we have, every technology that we utilize in our, right from simple apps in our phones, most of them are powered by AI. So thereafter, particularly in the last 6 7 years, from 2018 onwards in particular, as a government, we started looking at agriculture as a domain. As all of us understand, agriculture is one domain which supports the largest number of rural livelihoods. And this idea came to us again in the context of digital divide, a theme which is very important for events like this. In the previous editions, I remember digital divide was the theme. Today's theme is not to say that it is not related to digital divide. Digital divide remains a very, very pertinent and a very pressing kind of a challenge for the entire digital society and the digital community. But our interest in looking at agriculture as a domain started when we were confronted as a government with this digital divide phenomena. And I'll digress for a couple of minutes to tell something very interesting. Uh, Many of you would be aware that the national government and the state governments has a flagship program to provide broadband connectivity to every village, to every home in the country. In the national government, it is called BharatNet, to provide digital connectivity. States have their own versions. The version in our state is called T-Fibre. And again, way back in 2015, we started rolling out T-Fibre. And while the national government decision to connect every household came much, much later, in Telangana, the decision to connect every home with reliable broadband connectivity was taken way back in 2015 when we decided to roll out T-Fibre. And the process which is still being followed here in Telangana is to saturate a village. So you go to a village, lay the fiber, connect all the households, move to the next village, and so on. So something very interesting happened when a village would get connected. Our anticipation was that it will bring excitement in the lives of the people, but the feedback on the ground was very different. Let us say you are a small farmer who lives in a remote village. You went to sleep today, and when you wake up in the morning, your neighbor tells that, hey, there is broadband at our doorstep. We did not find people jumping with joy and running to the store to buy an iPhone or an iPad or whatever. People were totally indifferent about it. I mean, did not even make any register in their eyes, in their minds, what is it? What is the implication of broadband and all that? So this was in some sense a bit disappointing because we are spending so much of time and effort and money to bring broadband and nothing is being received with that kind of enthusiasm. So the message was very clear that unless you make it known to people that broadband can actually help you, it can solve some of the most pressing problems that you face in your life, this will be just seen as something which is being driven from the top and there'll be no relevance at the community level. So then this very important thought came in our minds that let us try to find which are the most pressing challenges people face and find digital solutions and see if these solutions can be rolled out before their eyes so that we get their buy-in. And obviously, as I was mentioning, agriculture is one domain which supports the largest number of rural livelihoods, both directly as well as tangentially. And then we decided to focus on agriculture as a domain in a very comprehensive way. And again, many of us would know this intuitively that the way agriculture is practiced, there are lots of inefficiencies, there are lots of avoidable losses, etc., which technology possibly can fix. And this is how we began. That let us look at. We took three main crops in Telangana. Rice obviously is the biggest crop, but also cotton and maize, and understood the entire sequence of operations and where are the inefficiencies, what can be done to improve their production, to improve their productivity, to minimize their losses, thereby increasing their incomes. And we found that amazing number of technology solutions are available or can be created to bring every step in that sequence much more kind of efficient and effective. And again, when we decided to ask solution providers to create solutions, targeted solutions relevant to these three crops, and again, there is something very interesting, again, very intuitive also. We typically use the word farmers, etc., in a very homogeneous way, but the reality is that it is a very heterogeneous group, and the lives of these subgroups within the farmers is very, very different. So a large farmer possibly will not even think that these are challenges or problems, but a small farmer, a subsistence farmer, his world, his understanding of technology, the inefficiencies, the losses that he faces is hugely disproportionate as compared to a big farmer. So here we decided to target mostly the small and marginal farmers, and how do you introduce technologies for them? And we realized that we have to share data. There is no other way in which we'll get targeted solutions. And then we started something which is very interesting. We created a data exchange. It is called ADEX. We took the help of Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, to create the data exchange. And we also created a data management framework. So ADMF, Agriculture Data Management Framework, on who is permitted to use that data, who is permitted to get on that exchange. If you are getting on that exchange, what kind of norms do you have to follow? If you are making any commercial usage of that data, how do you ensure that the commercial gains are shared with the people whose data was secured in the very first place, and so on and so forth. And with the success of that ADEX and ADMF, we decided, and this is something which subsequently the national government is also speaking about, to create a data exchange across domains. And I'm very happy to share with you that just a few months ago, we as a government have been able to successfully launch what is called as the TGDEX, the Telangana Data Exchange, which has more than 1,300 data sets, all governed using a data management framework, and large number of people, almost on the last count, there are about 60 to 70 users, companies, startups, enterprises, academic institutions, researchers who are getting on this data exchange, and they're using that data in an ethical manner, in a manner which does not violate anyone's privacy, confidentiality, etc. So as I mentioned right at the beginning, it is not that we have been able to set gold standards, but possibly this is the direction, that you create a regulatory framework, but create a framework in which we also allow innovation to happen. There are large number of startups whose ability to pay commercially for data to run their algorithms, etc., is limited because they're at a very early stage of their journey. But at the same time, encourage them to design solutions which solve some of these most pressing pain points. We are having a section on AI for social good. So people of those kind who are bringing technology to solve people's problems, and also opportunity in a very strong way to reduce the digital divide, because our experience in dabbling with agriculture showed that if you are actually in a position to solve people's problems which they might have been facing for generations, and show it to them that because and only because of technology are you able to get rid of this problem today, the buy-in is much, much stronger. And then all the efforts that you put in laying all the optic fiber cable and spending money, etc., there's a very strong justification for all that. So I do hope that during the 7th edition of Digital Citizens Summit, some of these ideas, as has been shown in practice, will be shared with everyone. As a government, we would like to be more educated. We would like to learn from lots of grassroots initiatives which have taken off successfully. We are always, I mean, this is one of the reputation that we have built in Telangana, that whatever we do, we encourage strong partnerships. The government has never felt that it is the repository of all information, all wisdom. We have always shown a willingness to learn, to kind of bring partners, allies, and I offer that same opportunity to everyone. If you have a solution which you think can work well in Telangana, please look us up, please talk to us. Once again, very happy to see huge turnout of participants, large number of digital artisans, people who have worked on social good using their technologies. Great to see all of you here, and let us use these 2 days to really address some of these most relevant and pressing issues that the digital society faces. Greetings to you once again. Thank you very much.